guys, welcome to Real Therapy Fishing. I've got a recipe that I'm going to share with you today. Basically it's a luxury fish pie, one of my favourites. It's definitely full of flavour and one for you guys to try. So I'll show you what fish I've got and how we're going to quickly prep it up. It's really easy to make. I mean, most of you guys know how to make fish pie, but it's yeah, it really is a luxury one, so we'll crack on with that. Okay, so I've got here some cubed salmon, some cod, some smoked haddock, and I've also got some small pollock fillets here which I'm going to quickly chop up and add to that mix. They've already been boned out, so the centre bones are all gone, so we don't have to worry about bones in this. So I'll just put them together roughly into cubes as well, sort of similar size to what's on the plate. Okay, and we'll add that all together. So what makes this a little bit more luxurious is the cooking milk and cream I've got in here. I've got around about 350 millilitres of milk in there, whole milk. Try and use whole milk if you can, because it's all the fats that come out of the salmon, etc., can split like a semi-skimmed milk or a skimmed milk if you're using that. Whereas if you've got a full of fat milk, you'll find the sauce, once you've made it, it won't split. So yeah, like I say, there's about 350 millilitres of milk and about 150 millilitres of double cream in there. What we're going to do, and get this on the heat and bring this up to sort of a simmer. We'll add the fish, mix it all in. You can add like onions or half an onion, flavour the actual milk. You can add like a bouquet garni, that sort of thing, peppercorns, but I'm just going to do it sort of natural really. I like the taste of the fish just to be as it is really. So yeah, I'm just going to cook it like that, and I'll show you that process when I get to the milk, to the stage of the milk boiling, should I say. So our milk is just coming up to the boil now. It's just got a little bit of a simmer on the go. I'm going to add our fish. Just slowly add that into the milk and cream. I actually brought a fish pie mix. It's from a supermarket. Obviously it's just easier. It's, you know, it's a bit cheaper to buy it like that than it is to buy, you know, fillets of salmon and haddock and then all individually like that. So this will probably make me a couple of nice sized pies. So yeah, that will suit us down to the ground. So I'm just going to let that come up to the boil. I'm going to turn it down, let it simmer for a little while, just till that fish is just slightly cooked through. And then what we'll do is we'll reserve the milk and cream to actually make our sauce with. So in the meantime, we can get some mashed potatoes on, get some potatoes on to mash ready for the topping. So they'll be peeled and I'll get them on the go as well. Okay guys, so the fish is now cooked. You can see it's just starting to flake a little bit. So I'm going to turn the heat off. Show you. There, it looks lovely. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide them into a couple of pie dishes that I've got. I'll show you that now. I'll spin the camera around and I'll show you then how to make the sauce that's going to go in with that to finish it. Okay, so these are the dishes I've got. They're probably inch and a quarter. I don't know what the diameter of that is, but you can sort of judge it really by the size of my hand. They're the ones I'm using, and obviously you can get all different sorts. So what I'm going to do is just, I've got like a spoon with holes in here just to drain the fish off. Don't want to overcook the fish. Make sure you don't actually overcook it, because you've got to bear in mind that the it's going to be sort of cooked again when it goes back through the oven. So I'm going to try and keep them as whole as possible, them chunks. Try not to break them up too much when you get the fish out, because this is a time when the fish is going to be extremely delicate. So just going to divide that up between the two. It smells absolutely delicious. So there will be some remaining sort of tiny bits of flakes of fish in the milk, but it doesn't matter because we're going to make the sauce with it, so it'll all end up in here anyway. So that's that. We'll just get a bit more out. Okay, and we're going to leave some room obviously to put the mashed potato on top. So just push that down carefully, and that's that stage done. We'll leave them to cool slightly and we'll crack on and make the sauce to go in with it. Okay, so we're going to make a roux, which is basically a mixture of butter and flour, which will create the sauce basically. So as we had almost a pint of milk to start with. That's been reduced a little bit with the cooking, so I'm just going to put around about 1.5 ounces of butter in there. Put that on the stove just to start heating through, and when that's melted we're going to add about the same, well, it needs to be the same quantity of flour. So it's going to be again 1.5 ounces of flour. Plain flour is fine for this. You don't need anything else really, just plain flour. I tend to just judge it by eye really, so what I'll do is I'll just put the flour into the butter, and once it's all soaked up and made into like a sort of a paste, we will then sort of know that it's at the right consistency to make the sauce. Okay, so I'm just melting 1.5 ounces of butter. We're going to make a roux, a classic French styled sauce, or the base of a sauce. That's just melted, like I say, 1.5 ounces of that, and I'm going to add in the same quantity of flour. So I'm just going to sprinkle some flour into that. Okay, just put a little bit in the start, let that soak through, and it'll become like a thick, like I say, like a sort of a thick paste. Right. Give that a stir. As you can see, it's like a sort of, at the moment, a runny liquid. We need to cook that flour out so it doesn't taste sort of bitty and pappy when you eat the sauce. I'm going to add a little bit more flour, which I've got left. About a couple more seconds on the stove just to finish cooking through, and you'll notice it will go like a sort of a paler colour. So don't have your heat up too high, because otherwise you'll end up burning it, and then it'll get a bit of a funny taste to it. So okay, so that's what you want to be looking for, that sort of consistency. Okay, once you get to there, put it back on the heat and just add a tiny little bit of milk. Obviously the milk's already hot, so that's good, it'll help with the sauce, making it into the right consistency. And again, it's sort of gone back to that stage again. And you just keep adding the milk, and it smells absolutely lovely because of the fish has been in there and cooked in with that. It's giving all the flavour is going to go into your sauce. So let's mix that again. If you don't feel too confident, you can move the roux away from the heat and mix it in. Just be careful you don't splash yourself with the milk. That's why I've used a deep saucepan really. And just add a bit at a time, just keep going with it, and eventually it will just become sauce-like and the consistency that we want. So we're getting now to a stage where it's becoming a very thick sauce. So try and make sure your milk is at a hot temperature as well, because you'll have trouble otherwise and you'll end up with thick lumps of sort of butter and flour all sort of clumped together. If you do get to that stage, just take it off the heat and give it a real good sort of beat inside the saucepan, and you'll find that that will hopefully just sort of bash it all out, and then you can carry on adding your milk again. So, okay, we're getting quite a nice sort of thick consistency, but it still needs a bit more. A lot of people, they get frightened at making a sauce like this. They'll think, oh, it's all gone clumpy and lumpy, and it's a bit. Just bear with it; it will automatically just come together. And just keep mixing as well. Keep mixing. Don't add too much liquid at a time. Just little bits and little dribbles at a time, and you'll find that it'll come together really nice. You can still see a few flakes of fish in there, so that's good. A bit more. Like I say, 2 ounces of butter, 2 ounces of flour, and a pint of liquid, could be milk, stock, or whatever. We'll make a sauce. So just bear that in mind. We've used just under a pint with the 350 ml of milk and the 150 millilitres of cream as well. So we're at 500 millilitres. So I've just done just under a pint. So I've just done just under the 2 ounces. I've done about 1.5 ounces of both butter and flour. So it just gives you a guide as to, and that'll probably do it, I would imagine. So if you wanted to, you can add peas into this. Now would be a good time. Once the sauce is made, you can put the peas in there, or indeed you could have put them in when the milk was boiling with the fish. I'm going to make this for my daughter. She absolutely loves fish pie, but she doesn't like peas, so I daren't put them in there. She'll see them, and yeah, I don't want her to not eat it because of that, so I've left them out. But again, you put them in there, and that's what we're looking for. Just a nice sauce. On the camera, yeah. Just a nice sauce. I don't think you can quite see that in there, but. And that's it, that's that stage done. So there was a tiny little bit of milk left in the pan, a little bit of residue, so, and that's that. So off with the heat, and then we'll get this all put together, and then we can get the mashed potatoes on top and into the oven, and she's ready to eat. Okay guys, so there's our fish that we put in there from earlier. That's slightly cold now, but not too much. We're going to get the sauce. I think you'll agree that's quite a nice consistency there. Just put a ladle over that one. A ladle over that one. And then just a little bit more on each. Just to finish that off. Okay. What I do like to do is add a little bit of dill. So I'm not going to chop it up, I'm just going to rip it. Sprinkle that on. Like that. Only want a little bit really, but it does change the flavour of it, and it really is lovely. As you all know, dill goes extremely well with fish. Right, so get them out of the way. That's it. What we can do now is get a fork. I'll just give that a light mix, just to make sure all the fish is coated. Okay. Right, I didn't add any salt to the fish mix or to the sauce, because the smoked haddock is quite salty, and I've had this fish mix before. So, I mean, now would be the time if you wanted to. Well, try it when you've got the sauce on the go. Just try the sauce, make sure everything's okay, and obviously because you've used that milk that you've cooked the fish in, you'll know as to the sort of seasoning that you want. So. That's that stage. I've added some salt and pepper to the mashed potatoes, but to this itself is, for me, with the cream in there and, like I say, the saltiness out of the haddock, is absolutely perfect. You don't need to add anything to this. Again, it's personal choice. So that's the stage we're at with the. Oh, just dripping out the end of the dish. But yeah, that's the stage we're at with the fish pie. So we've still left a little gap around there to, I'll just push that one back down again. Yeah, leave a little gap there to obviously to pipe your mashed potato on, or just put it on with a fork, however you want to do it. And ideally now we want to let them sort of chill off, let them go a little bit sort of cooler, so that when we put the mash on it doesn't push it down too hard, and we'll go from there. So I'll let them cool. I've got the mashed potatoes cooking, and we'll get back to that when we add it to the fish pie. Okay guys, so I've got my mashed potatoes in a bowl here. They're all cooked, mashed down. I've added a little tiny bit of butter, but then I had an idea that I could add just a little bit more of this milk that was left over from the fish, rather than adding just normal milk to it. Just add a little bit of that, just to finish the mashed potatoes off. I'll just mix them down. Like I said previously, I've added salt and pepper to the mashed potatoes. I did forget to say that if you wanted to, you could add a fish like OXO cube or something to the milk whilst it was all cooking. Personally, I think the fish is such a nice strong flavour, you don't really need the fish stock cube in there, but again, that's personal choice. You can add one in, just a sort of an OXO stock cube or something. But so I've got myself a piping bag, and I'm going to pipe the mashed potatoes on today. I've got a star nozzle in the end of the bag there, and I'm just going to pop the mashed potato into it. Hopefully I've got enough mash to cover both the pies. Just bring that down, and then just pipe it on there. Doesn't have to be too fancy, but that's one. Yeah, I'm gonna run out of mashed potato for this second one. I didn't give that a thought. I thought, oh yeah, a few potatoes will do. That'll be fine. But yeah, I'll have to put some more potatoes on and finish this one a bit later. But we have got the one here. I'm going to pop this into the oven. I'm going to just quickly boil up some more mashed potato, get some more potatoes on the boil, mash them before I put the oven on, because obviously a bit of a waste to just put the oven on for this one. I'll get that one done as well and put the oven on. They're going to take about 30 minutes, 35 minutes, just to finish cooking, get them a little bit sort of coloured on the top, and yeah, they'll be lovely. So that's that. Hi guys, well, this is the finished product. It's been in the oven for 35 minutes, cooked to perfection. Absolutely lovely, smells delicious, so I can't wait to try that. Thanks for watching. Be sure to click like and subscribe for more content, and we will see you again soon. Take care, all the best.